Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be taking you on an investigation to see if you can discover, one, if there is actually a mind there inside of you, and two, if there's any thoughts there, what these are, where thoughts originate. And the approach that we'll take today is one of you inquiring for yourself as I guide you through it. So let's get started. The main thing to begin with is just come back to the sense of yourself in the body. So we need to get you a little bit quiet in order to investigate. So here's back to the sense of your body, just feeling how it feels to be you in the body. Not worrying about what you're thinking, just feeling how it feels to be you right now in your body. No big deal, no concentration, not a concentration of thought, but a reconnection with physical sensations of you. And there you are, the physical sensations of you, right there, the body of you. Now, what have we got inside this body? We've got all sorts of things. Got a lot of organs, got a lot of muscle, a lot of bone, a lot of blood, a lot of water, a lot of tissue of all sorts. And we have nervous system, endocrine system, hormonal system. We have this vast interaction of information going on, not at the level of thinking, but at an organic, biological level. And this biological level of interaction goes on between every single cell in the body. You can actually feel it going on. If you really sit quietly, just feel the sensations of your own body, you'll feel so much buzzing away, so much going on. And each part of your body feels a bit different to other parts, depending on what's going on there. Your stomach might feel tense, or full, or bloated if it's full, or empty and hungry if it's empty. Your legs might feel sore from having gone for a run this morning, or your biceps might be sore from being at the gym this afternoon. There's all sorts of different sensations going on in the inside of you. Or your brain might hurt tonight just from thinking so much all day or looking at the computer all day. Your eyes may be sore, or you might feel really refreshed and recovered from having an afternoon nap. Whatever it is, it all feels different. And each different feeling is telling you and every other part of you, the body of you, telling you, all of you, exactly how you're going. And in the sensations of you, you now know what you are, you know that you exist, and you know generally how you are right now. All that is known before any thought comes into it, any analogy comes into it. You don't need to analyze yourself. In fact, thinking about yourself comes way later on. You need something to think about in order to produce thoughts about it. And where does that information come from? It comes from the way you are, the sensations of your body. When you're hungry, there's a sensation of hunger, and this leads to an expression of thinking that generates from that sensation in your body to express that sensation and the desire and the urges of that sensation. But you don't even know you have those desires and those urges if you're not aware of that sensation, or if that sensation isn't there, you won't be thinking about food, or you won't have a desire or an urge for food. So all of that activity of being you all day, every day, begins as a physical sensation in the body of you. So let's explore this a little bit further. The religious people of the world and the psychiatrists and psychologists of the world have claimed that they are studying a mind. I'm not talking about the brain here, we're talking about the study of a mind. Now, to study a mind, you would think there would be one there to study, yeah? So let's all just look right now. Let's see if we can find within ourselves a mind. So just notice what's going on inside of you. You feel all those sensations. You're sure of all the physical sensations of the existence of every part of you that you can feel right now. So just look around inside of you, sense around inside of you, feel around inside of you. What do you got in there? Can you actually find a mind? Now, I'm not talking about your imagining of what the mind must be and conjuring the experience of that. This is just knowledge. And this knowledge is not necessarily your knowledge, but it could be something you've been told and disbelieved. Well, it is actually something you've been told and you just believe. What I'm asking you to look for is something that you must look for and discover for and from yourself. Look for it in yourself and discover it for and from yourself. Because if you can't find it in yourself and you can't discover it for and from yourself, then you don't know it's there. Then it's not there. So we look around inside of ourselves and we're looking for a mind. Maybe what's going to make it easier is you can hear me talking, and so my words become your thoughts. So I'm speaking, and as you're hearing me, you're repeating those thoughts to yourself in order to know what I'm saying. So you're listening and you're speaking back to yourself every word I'm saying. So in other words, I'm feeding you the thoughts that you're thinking. So right now, if I'm feeding you the thoughts that you're thinking, where are they coming from? They're coming out of my mouth. Yeah, so the words that I speak become what you hear in your ears, and you immediately interpret those sounds to fit with the words that you know them to be, because you also speak the same language as me. So there it is. Where's the mind involved in that? Let's see. So let's take any of the thoughts that you're having right now, including any thoughts that you're having about your day or your thoughts that you're having about what I'm saying in reaction to what I'm saying, and let's see if we can find the origin of thought. In other words, the thinker of thought, the mind. Where is it? Can you find it? Let's start with the thoughts that you have right now. Let's trace those thoughts back to their origin. Any thoughts you have about what I'm saying, we would presume that these thoughts are being created by your mind. So if we can trace those thoughts back to their origin, surely that's what we're going to find. We're going to find our mind. But what happens when we trace our thoughts back to their origin? So trace your thought back to an origin. Or can you even find a thought right now? If you can't find a thought right now, let's make one up. Let's say, think of a dog. Think of a dog, or even the image of a dog. So you can think of the word dog, and you can think of the image of a dog, and you can even go into, the image of a dog panting or smiling at you. There you have it. Now trace that back to its origin. Back to the origin, which is supposedly this mind that thinks the thoughts, the mind that imagines images. So what do you got there? Did you find anything? I don't mean any knowledge. I'm talking about, did you find any mind anywhere inside of yourself? And I already know the answer. You did not, because there's no such thing. What do you find? You find more thinking. At the very most, you find thinking about thinking. You can't find where that thinking originates. It just seems to be there. There it is, just thinking away. So where's that thinking coming from? Is the mind thinking that thinking? When you trace it back to the origin of that thought, what do you end up with? Right back to the beginning. Before you thought that thought, where were you? What was happening? Where is this mind? And you notice you come up with a blank. There's nothing there. There's nothing at the origin of thought. It's just quiet. So where's this thinking coming from? There's no mind there. Then let's start again. Can you find a thought? Can you find your thought? Your thoughts? Are there any thoughts there? Look, check it out inside yourself right now. You're just listening to me and I'm saying, okay, right now everybody, let's find a thought. What happens when you find a thought? Do you find a thought? In trying to find a thought, do you find there's nothing there? Or if you're already thinking about something, then you notice there is a thinking process going on. But is there a thought? Or is there only a continuous repetition of a thinking process? One thought after another, one thought about the thought you just had. So thoughts about thoughts. But can you actually pin down and actually find a thought? Let's say the thought dog. How long does that last for? Dog. Can't capture it, can you? Dog. Try again. Dog. Where's it gone? Doesn't hang around very long, does it? You can't even capture it. It's not actually there. It's just an image. It's just a sound. An imagining. Images don't exist. Sounds don't really exist either in their own right. Okay, the vibration of the molecules and so forth, but the sound itself is nothing. The image itself is nothing. Or is it really something? So pin down a thought. Can you find a thought? Or do you only find thoughts about a thought? Are thoughts really there? Are images really there? Is what you imagine real or illusionary? So what do you have? If you don't have a mind and you don't have a thought, but you do find thoughts about thoughts, you find your thoughts repeating my words becoming your thoughts about my words, or your thoughts about my thoughts. So we have thoughts about thoughts going on. What happens if we don't keep thinking thoughts about thoughts? What happens to those thoughts if we don't keep thinking them? If the thinking of them doesn't continue? They're not there, are they? You only have thoughts about anything we make up. Can you find a soul there? Or only the idea of a soul? Only thoughts about a soul? Can you find a spirit there? Or only your knowledge of what you believe a spirit to be, being the basis of your thinking about a spirit? So put aside your knowledge, just the word, just the spirit, because the knowledge is just your invention, just your belief, or somebody else's invention and your belief anyway. It's not really knowing anything, it's just knowledge, just words. So there you have thoughts about a spirit, thoughts about a soul. Any soul? Any mind? Any spirit? Or nothing? Absolutely nothing. Just exhausting thoughts searching for what they're thinking about, but never really finding it, because you can't actually find something that doesn't exist, but you find something that does exist. Every other part of you can find. So the parts of you, that are actually you, every living cell in the body of you, making up the body of you, you have your own immediate sense of. You don't even need to think about it. It's there and you know it because you can feel yourself existing as a sensation of yourself, of the body of you, any part of it. You know your foot exists right now without even thinking about it. You know it's there because you can feel it. If your foot's touching the ground, you feel that sensation. That is not dreamt up. That is not thought. That is actuality. That's part of you. So what is it to be you? Well, what we can know is we know that we are a body, a living, breathing, thinking or imagining, intelligent organism. We know we are this. We know we have that. We can't escape that, actually. Try and not have that. Try and not have the sense of yourself as the body. Can't do it. So you only have thoughts about thoughts. You only have thoughts about a mind. You only have thoughts about a spirit. You only have thoughts about a soul. But you don't need thoughts about the body of you. Because what are thoughts about something? Just the imagining of it, the knowledge of it, the idea of it. So you experience the knowledge, but you can't experience the thing that you have knowledge about. When you're thinking about a mind, you're thinking about thoughts, then you're experiencing the knowledge of thoughts. But are you actually experiencing a thought? Are you actually experiencing a mind? Are you able to experience anything other than the living body of you? So that's as far as we can go with sensations, isn't it? So if there's no mind to do the thinking, where's all this thinking coming from? Follow your thoughts back now. Forget about the mind. Let's say the mind, I think it's pretty clear it's not there. Yeah. Although you've been thinking that word and thinking those ideas for, lifetimes now. Not your many lifetimes. As a human species, we've been thinking this, talking this way, take for granted that there is mind, but forgotten to find out for ourselves and from ourselves whether it really does exist or we're just accepting that idea. So I would put it to you that you've just accepted the idea, you've never questioned it, and you've never been able to find one, and therefore you don't know there is one. And now when you have a chance to go looking for it, you can't find the damn thing. Big con. Yeah, big trick. Trickery of the psychiatric and the psychological profession. Trickery of the spiritualist. No such thing. Okay, so what do we have? We have thoughts about thoughts. And yet when we go to find those thoughts, we can't really find them either because they keep disappearing and replacing themselves with another thought. Yeah. So we're thinking about a dog. How many times do you have to think about the dog to maintain the thought of a dog for, say, a minute? Probably about 60 to 100 times because the thought keeps disappearing. So you can't actually hold a thought. How do you hold a thought in concentration? You actually repeat it. Repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. So there it is. You can't pin a thought down. You can't even find a thought because thoughts are just images. But where do they come from? Where's their origin? So if you say the origin's not there in the mind as a mind because I can't find a damn mind. So what can you find? What you can find, which we've already started with, is a sensation of your own body. And let's say you have the sensation of hunger right now. Many of you will have the sensation of hunger right now. Some of you will have the sensation of itching right now. Some of you will have the sensation of being a bit tired. Some of you will have the sensation of irritation with what I'm talking about. Some of you may feel confused. Where do you feel all that? Where do you feel that sensation of hunger? Where do you feel that sensation of being cold, hot, fatigued? Where do you feel that? Where is that? That's in the body of you. Now you're feeling hungry right now. If you're feeling hungry right now, you're feeling hungry without even thinking about it, aren't you? It's just a sensation in the body. And it doesn't come and go like thought does. It's there continuously. There it is, you're hungry. There it is, you're cold. Does the cold come and go? No, the cold is there as long as you're cold. The heat is there as long as you're hot. The itch is there as long as it itches. The sight is there as long as you're looking. The sound is there as long as the vibration in the eardrums are receiving sound from outside of you. The taste is there in your mouth all the time. So the sensation of touch is there all the time. We don't always think about it, but we don't need to because it's a sensation. It's not a thought. It's not an idea. It's something that exists biologically. So, where are these thoughts coming from? When you're really quiet now, there's no mind there. There's a question as to whether there's really thought there. So what do we actually have as a living organism? What do we have as an animal? What do we have going on all the time other than a continual play of sensations? Sensations which are the knowing of our own existence and the way in which our existence is functioning right now. We know our own condition right now. We know a lot more than that too. Yeah, we know whether we're frightened, we know whether we're sad, we know whether we're unhappy, we know whether we're happy. We know that as a sensation. And that sensation, bringing it back to hunger now, the sensation of hunger, when we're hungry for long enough, what happens? When we recognize, our thought recognizes hunger. I'm hungry. We say, I'm hungry. And then we start to create thoughts based on that sensation, or the sensation produces the thoughts. That's the origin of the thinking of what I want to eat, of what it is to be hungry. The recognition of my condition is not separate to my condition. It's there because of my condition. Otherwise, the recognition of being hungry, if I'm not hungry, it won't be there. If I'm not hungry, I'm not going to think about hunger. I think about hunger because the sensation is there. So the sensation is the origin of thought, of all that information. So where's the mind? We don't need one, do we? We don't need a mind. The body does the thinking. The body doesn't need a mind to think. The body doesn't need a mind to know, to sense, to be the living that it is. Body doesn't need a spirit to be alive either. Spiritualists will tell you that without the spirit or the soul, the body's dead. Really? I think they're overlooking something really fundamental, is that this body is a living organism. Yeah, it's alive in its own right. It doesn't require a spirit or an energy of some sort to give it life, to give it energy. It gives life to the spirit. It gives life to the mind. It gives life to the thoughts. Without the body, there's no thought, mind, spirit. None of that's there. The body's there. The body is the foundation. We are a living experience in the body, but not in our thinking. In the thinking, there's no living experience. Thought is absolutely dead, empty stuff. Can't contain the feeling of life in the word life. Yeah? You can't contain the feeling of sadness in the word sadness. Word is empty, dead things. All thoughts are dead things. They're just descriptions of the living. So they come because of and from the living. So what's the living? Living body, the living organism that you are. There it is. So your thinking originates in the sensations of the body of you. So now looking at this, can you see any mind there right now? Have you really ever thought about this before? So what happens when you realize there's no mind? What happens when you even go a bit further and question, is there really any thought there? Or only thoughts about a thought? And what are those thoughts anyway? Just images, just words. Do they exist in their own right? Do they even exist? Does an image exist? So what's really going on when we're looking for a mind? What do we find at the origin of thought? Not a mind, not at all. We find the body. And from the body, we express these sensations, all the sensations from the body, becoming the descriptions and the information that would flow in relationship to that sensation. I want to eat this or that or the other. I want to put a coat on if it's cold, and so on. So there we have it. The first beginnings of questioning this very thing of the mind. So if there's no such thing as a mind and no such thing as a spirit, no such thing as a soul, but we are a living organism, a live body, intelligent creature, operating on a different level of intelligence than thinking. Because I'd say thinking is not intelligence. Thinking is not intelligent at all. Thinking relies on the intelligence, on the knowing sense, on the information that is alive in the body in order to describe anything anyway. So words only describe what's known by the body, what's already known by the living organism. That's why we can have many different languages, and we do. We have lots of different languages. And we all rely on the same sensations, no matter what our language, whether we're French, whether we're German, whether we're English, no matter, we all have different words for the sensation of cold, but we're all describing that one universal bodily language, which is the sensation of cold. But we need a different word to describe it because of our languages. So the description is brought about due to what it's describing. Without what it's describing, what does it mean? It doesn't mean a damn thing. So when words don't actually describe something that exists, what are those words other than empty noises? So if there is no mind, no soul, no spirit, what happens then? What happens to religion and spirituality when you realize that? The whole thing just falls over. There's nothing there. There's no mind, soul, spirit, psyche. What are you going to do? What are you going to need all these stories for? There's no afterlife. There's no life before. There's just now. There's just existing as a living being right now, as the body of you right now, as the intelligent life of you right now. And there you have it. So you are. Someone's asked me the other day, what am I? Yeah, good question. What am I? Who am I? We all know who we are, don't we? The who is just a story of our life, the memory of our life. And we're not a story. We're not the memory. I can tell you all about who I've been all my life. And I'm not that. I never was that. It's just a story about what I did. But who did it? I did it. So who am I? No who here. No who at all. It's what am I? And what am I? I'm the same as you. I'm a living, breathing, intelligent organism. And the way I know myself to exist is because I can't escape the sensation of my own existence in every cell that makes up the body of me. Okay, something to think about, if you can find a thought to think about it. Otherwise, just come back to the sense of it in your body, and rather than thinking about it, you will know it. Thanks for watching. If you want to take your meditation and healing journey deeper, download my meditation app Undo, which is available exclusively on my website undoapp.com. Okay, bye for now.